Alright, hello and welcome back. The version 4.0 beta has arrived, and with it we have a lot of new content, a new pre-arm, and of course a new Valkyrie, and of course a new story. Well, for the start, I'll be taking a look at the new Valkyrie, Starlit Astrologos, and overall, aesthetically, she looks really good. I like the second outfit. I actually prefer the second outfit over the first one since I think it looks better. Well, this is a support Valkyrie, mostly support, and surprisingly can do also DPS. Power physical support joins the battle with QT without switching into the support teammates. Ultimate greatly boosts teammate DPS and can be unleashed on standby. Really interesting, and of course, a couple new features that we haven't seen in the game so far. And core strengths are really interesting, of course, and the ultimate and leader skill are also really interesting, and you will see all of them in action later on in the actual combat tests. And so far, the picture is also really nice. The synergy, the best partners are Volatile Phantasm and Bright Knight Excelsis. Really interesting combination. And I'm pretty sure that you can also use the S rank Cele instead of Swallowtail Phantasm. And the equipment, we have pretty much most basic for the basic equipment for the beginners. Pretty much everyone at this moment has to have these stigmas and of course this weapon. So gearing out the most basic equipment shouldn't be a problem. The Master's equipment is a bit more serious, and I'll go a little bit in depth with them when I take a look at them. And the economic, only difference between the beginners and economic one is the weapon, which I think this is really a interesting combination. I am not sure why the beginner and economic sets are pretty much almost the same, but it will be really interesting to test them out as well later on. But for this video, I'll be using the signature equipment for the character. Well then, time to take a look at the weapons. And well, it deploys a cross, knocks down enemies in range, dealing 200% attack of physical damage and causing strong winds to deal 75% attack of physical damage per 0.25 seconds to enemies and slow their move speed by 30% for 8 seconds. Boosts team move speed by 25% and physical damage by 15% for 13 seconds. When it's equipped by Starlit Astrologos, active will auto-cast when her ultimate is unleashed through the QT. Cannot be triggered if active was button cast within the last 20 minutes. I'm sure that there was a typo here. I'm sure that there was a typo here in the description, but it doesn't matter. And the last passive across the team ultimate and burst mode deals 15% bonus physical damage, and when equipped on Starlit Astrologos it grants 20% attack speed. Overall, a really decent weapon, and the effects are so far pretty decent, and they aren't bad, they're actually really nice. Will be really interesting to see how this weapon will perform in actual combat. Well then, the new stigmas, they definitely are going to be really interesting to take a look at, and let's see the skills. Team deals 8% bonus physical damage, cannot stack. QT boosts team physical damage by 8%. On hit for 8 seconds, cannot stack but can be refreshed, while recommended is active, duration is extended by 4 seconds. A really interesting stigma. It actually boosts the whole team's physical damage. Interesting. Grants 30% bonus physical damage. QT deals 50% bonus damage against shields. So a shield break stigma, okay. And the third one, enemies hit by QT enter censored state, cannot stack but can be refreshed, where they deal 12% reduced total damage and take 18% bonus physical damage. Interesting. Censored stage, that will be... I'm really curious to test that out. Sounds to be interesting. And the set bonuses, first bonus boosts total damage by 30%, and the state lasts 4 seconds longer. And third piece, casting ultimate boosts total damage of host and deals damage by 20% for 18 seconds. And when equipped by Starlit Astrologos, it grants 40% critical bonus damage. well, so far pretty nice, and overall really interesting effects for this character. And of course, since this character is similar to the Darkbolt Jonin in terms of the SP bonuses and SP skills, she also has a couple of these skills, which I have maxed out over here, and all of them seem pretty interesting. Now, I personally like to use this character as a QTE support, and that's pretty much what this character gives me impression on. Of course, you can use this character as a active support, I guess. It also works. You can do that, and you can use her also as a DPS, probably. I'll have to test those things out as well. But mainly this character will be a physical support, supporting other physical damage dealers, which will be really interesting to see how they will work. And all of these also skills are really interesting. All are easy to memorize, and all of them have different moves. And the most important, of course, the most important aspect of this character is the QT, since her QT is the most detailed one, and her QT is also the most important one, since with the current set, so far that I've noticed, she can be a fantastic passive support, or should I say active support, since technically you are switching her in when you tap on the QT. That sounds familiar. That sounds really familiar. Interesting. Well then, all of these combos are also really interesting. Now I like the fact that most Valkyries now have the tap the attack button after evasion, because that way you do the combo attack, which I think does give a lot more options in the game, and does give a lot more, should I say, a lot more tactics. Definitely gives a lot more tactics in the game that you can use, that you can develop, and you can also find your own tactics that you can use. It gives us a bit of creativity on our hand to pretty much tamper with all of these different builds, and of course with all of these different Valkyries, to find the best team for us that probably will work the best for the player that likes to use them. I like to usually experiment with a lot of builds and with a lot of Valkyries in a lot of games, pretty much. And I usually find teams and builds that work best for me. And I usually play these characters the way that suits my gameplay, since that way I can ensure good performance. Since if I try to copy someone else's style, it can get kind of clumsy. I tried that a couple times, and it didn't go well, because it is just not my style to copy other people. I like to have my own style, and I like to develop my own way of combat that suits me. Well then, I think that's enough of the talking part, and now it's on the testing part. Well, first let's get a feel for the character to see how she works. And well, works pretty much as any other Tarsa character, of course with slightly different skills, different animations, and different attack speeds. A really fast attacking character, which I like a lot. And the overall range is medium to I guess long, and that's pretty nice. I'm pretty satisfied with the range. The effects are looking really good, and for a moment I thought that this was Wendy, but apparently that's her attack. Wendy, that was a wind Herrscher, right? Well, I am still not giving up on the wind Herrscher, since wind is also an element. Who knows, maybe sometimes in the future we will get a wind Herrscher. Would be really good if we did. Well then, so far she is doing a really good job at taking out these Honkai beasts. Of course, she is a biologic type, and as a biologic type she does have an advantage over the Honkai beasts, and she will take them apart without any problem. So far so good. Well, overall the combat animations, the evasion the evasion animation and the overall character performance in terms of the feel and in terms of the base feel for the character is really good. And so far everything was pretty smooth, and she does appear to be really controllable in terms of the overall animations, which is really good. Well then, on to something a bit more serious now. This will be Abyss. And of course I'll use the recommended team. Now here you could see me using the recommended sets for all of these characters, pretty much the signatures for all of these characters. The elf will be used to boost the physical damage and critical damage, which I'm using. It's the blood elf. I kind of forgot her name, honestly. I don't remember the elf's names. I just remember what they're doing and their effects. Well then, I think it's time to unleash the beast over here. I am pretty much going full power on these mobs with Durandal and of course with but I'm not quite sure. No, it's not her. It is I took the other A rank seller, and so far definitely playing really smooth, playing really good. And well, the active QT support works. You can see the buffs on the bottom of the screen being active. Of course, these buffs are combined buffs from Durandal and buffs from Tersa, which so far is doing a good job. Now, the active QT is something that I've seen in another game, and in that game the active QT is also a really good thing is a really good thing to have the characters switching without actually having to play as them, which gives you a bit of freedom to do what you pretty much want, and it's a good thing to have. I think it will benefit this character a lot. It will benefit a lot of players a lot. It will benefit potentially the future characters if they decide to implement this feature to other Valkyries, or if they decide to implement this feature universally for all characters. Will be really interesting. But so far I am really satisfied with the performance. So far works really good, and I do like it. I like from the 3.9 beta. I enjoy to play as Durandal. She is absolutely amazing, and people don't like her, but I personally like her a lot, and I enjoy her gameplay style. Her gameplay style is truly fun and something that is satisfying to do, especially when you use the spear combo. It is satisfying to impale the Honkai beasts and just slam them off the ground like they're nothing. It is really satisfying, at least for me. It sounds dark, it sounds sadistic. I agree, it does sound sadistic, but Durandal is just really smooth, a really smooth character to play. And well, so far everything appears to be working really good. Definitely, I can feel the buffs working, and I can definitely see what the game has recommended for us. Now again, you're also free to experiment with your own builds. I always support creativity and player build, like custom builds and such. I myself use custom builds, like I said before, and they seem to work pretty good. And creativity is pretty much unlimited, and if someone is enough creative, he can make the impossible work. That's pretty much what I do in a lot of games nowadays, and is something that I used to do for a very long time in other games. But well, so far so good, doing good damage, and of course I did not forget the Durandal's combo. It is really satisfying to repeat the combo. Look at this, just repeat, and yeah, really fun to do this. And so far I have so good. Right, and this is the boss. Okay, pop the ultimate, and now the QT will soon pop up for Teresa. There we go. And she's giving the buffs, active support. Well, this is actually a active support, since she is actually actively giving you buffs, which is really interesting. And good so far excellent. This Honkai Beast has a very bad day today, and I can relate to that Honkai Beast. My day today was really bad as well. Well, actually, I record this. Let me just check at 2 a.m. in the morning. It's 3:30 a.m. Well, technically, the bad day is over, so it is the beginning of a new day, technically. But yeah, the previous day was really bad. But so far, so good. Okay. I kind of forgot. Honestly, I didn't play the A rank Sally a lot. I played her back in the day when she was new, but since then, kind of lost interest in the character. But she is a really good character, and the physicals are getting a buff with this Valkyrie, and that's really interesting. And of course, something that I like. I like when developers buff stuff, since that makes all Valkyries kind of more viable. Alright, well, on to the next wave, and I'll just clear this. I'll just wipe the floor with them really quickly. I mean, it is Durandal. Just look at the damage. Really look at the damage. Absolutely crazy damage. Um, I personally think with her support, this character can be more lethal than before. And of course, I know this character is maxed out. All these characters are maxed out. Triple S rank, full signature equipment, triple S rank, and yeah, everything is maxed out. And of course, you are bound to expect perfect performance out of something that's maxed out. Okay, so far so good. Ultimate popped off, and well, she is hacking them into pieces. That's interesting. Very nice. So far so good. And oh, and even the buff from the co-op room is helping me. Okay, that's nice. It is physical. Oh, okay, excellent. It is physical. All right, so far doing a good job at taking them out. Well, let's enjoy the combat for a moment, and let's see how they will work. Interesting. Well, definitely Durandal doing a, a really nasty job on them. She is going full savage on these mechas. Kind of forgot how to call them for a moment there. She is just taking them out like they're no big deal. That's Durandal for you. Really interesting about the future updates though, since there are some things which I'll talk about later, which are bound to the next update, which I'm really excited about. And of course, them with time. Of course, with time I'll talk about more of the future. Of course. All right, there we go. I popped ultimate, and let's see. There we go. Absolutely destroyed. Well then, Durandal dominates so far. Durandal is dominating, and let's play Terz a little bit. Although her being an active QTE support is something that I like to use her as because of the convenience. It saves time, honestly, but playing her is also really nice, and you can definitely use her in the stage as well. At this point, it is mostly at player's preference. You can use her actively in the stage if you like, but also you can use her passively, or should I say more passive actively if you like to use her only as a QT support, which is also working really decently and really good so far. And I prefer that way. I prefer that way actually to use this character as a QT support, because mostly you will get her buffs from the QT, and the stigmas that she has equipped on are buffing QT quite a bit and have significant debuffs and buffs that they give you. And so far, that's what I prefer to use and what I prefer to play. Well then, so far doing a good job. And that was the boss battle of the final 4 so far. Really decent so far. And well, time to hop on Memorial Arena and let's choose a boss to fight. Alright, this is going so far really smoothly. Definitely, well, I did take Helmer because the current bosses were kinda incompatible with these characters, and they were kinda incompatible with physical teams, and of course they were incompatible with the characters that I wanted to test out. So I did take the one that will be the most accurate as possible, and that is Helmer, since the other bosses were not good for physical Valkyries. Well, so far so good. Definitely rotating them now. Rotating them now, I have. How do I say this actually? Rotating them, I have a lot more fun than before actually, because I can now rotate them and use the buffs without having to actually switch the support one in, and that is something that I like a lot actually. Something that I really like a lot. Well then, the S difficulty. Let's see how much damage can I get out from the Duranel. Apologies if I make some mistakes. I am really tired. It's like 3 a.m. at almost 3 a.m. here, and I am literally playing this, trying to stay awake. So this performance that I'm currently delivering with my gameplay kind of impressed me, since I can barely keep my eyes open, which is kind of funny. But well, during the day I'm really busy, so I cannot record during the day, only at night, so it will have to do. Well then, switching in the... I did take her just to see how much will she get affected by the new support, and well, I can say that she does get a buff from her. Pretty much all physicals are going to get a buff from the new support, and of course she is a rank. I forgot to mention that she is a rank, pretty much farmable, and everyone can get her, and that's something really good. You're going to get a good physical support. 372,000 critical. What the hell was that? Did my eyes play a trick on me? Well, that needs to be... yep, it is 372,000 critical. Ouch. Yep, that's 372,000 critical. That boss had a very bad day. That's a big hit, very big hit. Well then, the double S rank now, the finale. So far so good. I am pretty satisfied with the... I'm really satisfied with... I'm pretty much satisfied with the character. So far she is doing a good job, and I am really happy with the mechanics as well. They seem to be really fun, and kind of going, I think, kind of going in the right direction with the mechanics, since now you can actually switch the support in without having to switch out your DPS, and that way you are going to save up on time, and you are going to get better scores. Now, of course, if I fought Doom, I would have definitely over 300,000 points. I mean, I'm really sure that I will have definitely over 300,000 points if I fought Doom, because for this character, the best testing ground would be Doom, but unfortunately, currently Doom is not out, and of course, I will test most of these physical Valkyries out, of course, since this is a physical support only for physical Valkyries, and that means we'll have to use physical Valkyries, and of course Herrscher of the Void as well. She's also going to be in the spotlight here. And well, we're nearing the end of the video. I'm really happy with this character. She seems to be a really decent support, and overall I am satisfied with the performances that I'm getting with her. And well, I hope you enjoyed. It is my pleasure to play this for you. And well, with that being said, I'll see you next time. Take care.